We need a calculator for this this chapter.
It'll make it easier.
What?
Okay.
Yeah. When I solve them, I'll do it by hand, and then I'll show you real quick how I can do these on the calculator. And especially in the 3.7, it's big on the calculator. It'll graph it for us. Okay. All righty. So let's knock out this 3.6, and this is solving applied problems. So when you see the word applied in math, you know you're doing word problems, okay? So a few steps when you're solving these applied problems. Well, the first thing you got to do is translate each sentence into a mathematical statement. So translate each sentence into mathematical statements. Now, the big thing when you translate these sentences into your statements, remember, we're solving systems of equations. So in those, we want all of our variables on one side in the proper column equal to our numbers. So we need all variables on our left side in the correct column. So I'll make a column for my variables such as my X column, my Y column, my Z column, and then my answer column, okay? So once we have all of our variables on the right side, on the left side equal to our numbers, then we will solve the system by elimination. So I'll solve these by hand, but you could also use that calculator matrix method, and I'll do that one on the calculator with y'all. All right, y'all, once we solve that system, then we check our answers. If needed. So to do that, I can just plug my answers into any one of my equations I came up with and see if it's true or not, okay? So the biggest part is being able to translate these sentences into what we mean mathematical statements. So let's start our first one. We're going to deal with a triangle here. So it tells me in triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 4 degrees more than 3 times angle A. All right, the second sentence they gave me, it says the measure of angle C is 41 degrees more than angle A. Then it says find the measure of each angle. So we basically got us a triangle over here, and they're saying this angle is A, B, and C. So they want us to find the degrees of each one of our angles here. So let's translate what they're giving us into sentences first with math symbols. So the first sentence was the measure of angle B is 4 more than 3 times angle A. So that would be B equals, so you can write this side 2 ways. You can do 4 plus 3 times A, or you could do 3 times A plus 4. So I'll just do 3 times angle A plus my 4 degrees. Y'all with me on that one?
Mhm.
So that's going to be our equation number 1. Now remember, we need 3 of these, okay? All right, Jasmine, welcome on. I'm glad you was able to figure that out. All right, so that was that sentence. The next sentence says the measure of angle C is 41 degrees more than A. So that would be C equals A plus 41. And then I need my third equation. But y'all, if you notice on here, they only gave me 2 equations for this problem. They want y'all to know the third equation. So what kind of equation could we get from angles of a triangle?
A plus B plus C equals 180.
A plus B plus C equals 180. Good job. So this is the only problem on homework where they don't give you all 3 equations, and they want y'all to know what we just wrote down, that all 3 angles in a triangle do equal 180 degrees. All right, so I'm going to pull this down a little bit so we can start solving this. Now, remember on my instructions, once we wrote each sentence down, we have to now get all the variables on one side equal to our numbers. So the third equation is good. We got all the variables on the left side. On the first equation, we need to get our A's moved over. On that second question or second equation, I need to get that A moved over. So y'all, here's the thing. To move a variable from one side to the other, we change its sign. So what that means on this first equation, if I move this 3A to the other side, I'm going to move it over there and change it from a positive to a negative. So my new row number 1 is going to be negative 3A plus my B. There's no C, but leave a place for the C. And this row is going to equal 4. So y'all follow me. We had to move the A's to the other side, so we changed their sign and put them over here. Now remember, I need an A, B, C, and an answer column. So for the second equation, we need to move the A to the other side. So when I move that A to the other side, I'm going to make it negative. So that's going to give me a negative A. We didn't have a B on the second equation. We got our C in that second equation equals 41. So whether you're doing it by hand or on the calculator, you need to get these 3 equations in the right order. Now, third equation, A plus B plus C equaled 180 degrees. Now, here's the thing. if you're doing this on the calculator, since there's not a variable right here, you would treat it like a 0. Since there's not a B on the second row, you treat it like a 0. So when you punch this in the calculator, it'd be -3, 1, 0, 4. Next row would be -1, 0, 1, 41. And then the last row, 1, 1, 1, and 180. So when I do it on my matrix, those are going to be my numbers. All right, y'all. So here's what's nice about this problem. There's no C's on this equation, and there's no B's on this equation. So when I pick a variable to eliminate, I want it to either be the B's or the C's. So I'm going to eliminate the C's on this problem. So to eliminate the C, one of these C's has to be a negative when I add these bottom two rows together. So what I'm going to do to this, I'm going to multiply my row 2 by -1 and then add to row 3. That way I can eliminate that C. So we're going to take this whole row 2 right here and multiply by -1. That way that'll make that C negative, and when we add them, it'll cancel. All right, y'all, so here we go. If I multiply row 2 by -1, that makes the A positive. There's still a 0 there. That makes the C negative. And then that makes the 41, it was positive. That makes it negative. So when you multiply anything by -1, it just changed all the signs. Now bring down row 3 like we said, which was A plus B plus C equaled 180. Oh, y'all, right here, make that a -C, my bad. So make the first equation A plus 0 minus C equals -41. I had a 1 there, and I think I was telling y'all it changed it from a positive to a -1. All right, there we go. Let's add these and see if we canceled out the C like we wanted. So A plus A gave me 2 A's. 0 plus B gave me my B. So C's canceled. And then 180 and -41 give me 139. All right. So that gave me, so watch this. So we're going to bring that up here. That became my equation 4, 2A plus B equals 139. Now, the reason I wanted to get rid of the C's, there's not a C right there. That's a 0. So since the C is already eliminated on that equation, I can bring that equation over here, -3A plus B equals 4, and I can use that as my 5th equation. So remember, I just brought that one over there to use as my 5th equation. Now, if I'd have eliminated the B's with the first and third, then I would have pulled the second one over as my next equation because it wouldn't have had a B on it, okay? All right, y'all, look here. B and B don't eliminate, but if I multiply one of these rows by a -1, then add them, it'll eliminate. So I don't like all these negatives down here, so I'm going to take the 5th equation, multiply by -1. So I'm going to multiply row 5 by -1 and add to row 4. So we're going to multiply that row by -1. That makes everything change signs. So you now have a 3a minus b equals -4 for row 5. Row 4 comes down like it was, 2a plus b equals 139. All right, so y'all look what's happening. The b's cancel. 3 and 2 give me 5a. 139 minus 4 gives me 135. All right, let me check my chat here. All y'all are so close, but remember, yeah, that was a -4, so that made that what a 135 for us. All righty, so now I can get the a by dividing both of these by 5. So if you divide both of these by 5, a is going to equal 27. So now that we know a is 27, we can back substitute and get our b and c. So y'all let me get over here. Get this reset. All right, so I'm going to back substitute in one of the 2 equations that only have 2 variables. So I'm going to back substitute. So I'm going to pick the first one. I had 2 times a, which was 27, plus b has to equal 139. So I'm back substituting into my equation 4. All righty. So let's see, 2 times 27 is 54, plus b equals 139. Next step, subtract that 54 from both sides. All right, y'all, so we'll now have b. Let's see, what 139 was it? Minus 54 will give us. So that's looking like what, about 85? So I now know a is 27, b is 85. So I'm going to go back to that third equation and substitute them in too. So a was 27. So we're back substituting again. So 27 plus b, which is 85, plus c has to equal 180. Y'all, first, let's see what 27 and 85 will give us. So that gives us 112 plus c equals 180. Now subtract our 112. So let's see what I get on that. 180 minus 112. I'm getting 68. So our 3 angles. So MathLab will have them in order like this: angle A, angle B, and angle C. So what you'll do is you'll come in and put 27 for A. What we get for B was 85. And C was 68. When you add all 3 of them together, you will get 180. All right, so let me show you how I would do this on the calculator. So y'all, what I'm putting in my calculator is going to be these 3 equations we came up with using the zeros, okay? So I'm going to switch to my calculator. All righty. So remember, the first thing I need to do is go edit my matrix. So I'm going to hit second, x -1, to bring up my matrix. And if you'll notice, when I hit a button, it turns red on here, okay? So up here, I want to arrow right over until I hit edit. So I'm hitting the arrow button. And then I'm just going to hit enter. It's highlighting 1 for matrix A. So I'm going to hit enter. I had 3 rows and 4 columns. So we need to switch this to a 3 enter by 4 enter. When you do that, it's going to give us enough places to add the numbers we need. So I had negative 3a, so I'm going to put in negative 3, enter. You do not put variables, only the numbers. And then I had 1b, so that'd be 1, enter. 0c on that one, so 0, enter. And then 4 was the answer on that row. Then it's going to my second row. I had a negative a, so that'll be negative 1, enter. I had a 0 for the b on that row, so 0, enter. I had a 1 for my c, so 1, enter. And then the answer on that row was 41. And then enter, I go to my last row. Remember, this was a plus b plus c, so that was 1, enter, plus 1, enter, plus 1, enter, and you got 180. And once I punch that 180 and hit enter, I now have all my numbers entered into the matrix. So now we quit the screen by hitting second mode up here. So I'm going to hit the second button and the mode button right to the right of it, and that quits the screen. But we did what we wanted. This calculator now thinks that that matrix A is equal to them numbers we just put in it. So now to solve that, we hit second x negative 1 to get the matrix again. We're going to arrow right 1 unit until we get in the math column. Once we got the math column up, we arrow down and find RREF. So on mine it's B. So once we get RREF, hit enter. Now, the calculator is going to reduce this matrix for us, but remember, I still got to go get that matrix A. So to get the matrix A for the third time on this problem, you're going to hit second x negative 1. Matrix A is the first one that I made, that 3 by 4. So since 1's highlighted, I'm going to hit enter and bring that on my screen. Y'all, when I hit enter again, it'll give me my answers in the far right column in order. So here we go. So notice, far right corner, 27 would be your A, 85 is your B, and 68 is your C. So your 3 angles right there. Now, I will say I sent y'all some programs last night y'all can use for this. I don't have them on this calculator, but I sent some programs the other day. That Kramer stuff.
I forgot to put them in.
Huh?
I said I forgot to put them in.
Well, that's good. Once you put them in, watch that video I got about those, and it's the one that says solving equations using the program. If you use that one, it'll show you how to do it, and it's a little quicker than what I'm doing here. All righty, let's see. I'm gonna do another example of that, and then we'll get into the last material we need on that 3-7. So, same thing here. The sum of 3 numbers is 58. The difference of the largest and the smallest is 52. Then it tells me the sum of the two smaller numbers. So the sum of two smaller numbers is 13. So then they say, find the numbers. So what I'm going to do is let my first column be my largest number, then my medium number, then my smallest number, and then on the other side of the equals will be my answers. So the first one says the sum of three numbers is 58. So that's going to be x plus y plus z equals 58. That'll be our first equation. All right, so I'm seeing, let's see. So someone's got this on here, so let me see. So you're saying the next one's going to be x minus z equals 52. Good job, because my largest number is x, my smallest number is z, and that's going to equal 52. And then on here, y'all are saying y plus z is 13, because my smallest two numbers, y plus z, equals 13. So that'll be our equation 3. On the calculator, I would use zeros for the missing two variables, okay? So y'all, here's the question. Are y'all doing this by hand or are y'all doing this by the calculator? All right, so I'm saying hand, so that's how I'm going to do it then.
Both.
Now remember, on the calculator, you would just do 1, 1, 1, 58, 1, 0, negative 1, 52, and then 0, 1, 1, 13. So, Zach, for a treat, you get to choose if I'm going to eliminate those X's or those Y's. So we're going to eliminate the Y. There you go. Now, remember, this second equation here will be my second equation once I add these Y rows together, because it's already missing the Y, okay? So just like that last problem. So to eliminate the Y, what I'm going to do is multiply this row 3 by negative 1. That way I can have a positive Y here and a negative Y here. So I'm going to multiply row 3 by negative 1 and then add to row 1. All right, y'all, so multiplying this by negative 1, you're going to get a negative Y minus a Z equals a negative 13. That's your new row 3. Row 1, when we bring it down, is X plus Y plus Z equals 58. Well, Zach, I'm going to say this. You picked a good variable, because what's happening to that? I bring down that X. Well, what's happening to the Y's? They canceled, right? Oh, I see it up there. Cancel both. Yeah, because now you cancel the Z's also. So now 58 minus 13 is going to give me what, 45? So y'all look at this. I don't even have to come up with another system of equations. I know what X equals. So since I know what X equals, I'm now going to back substitute. I can put this X into either one of these two equations and get the Z. I can put the X, I'm saying, into the second equation, find my Z. Then once I know the X and Z, I can go to the first one and get the Y. Or I could use the Z in this one and get the Y on that one, okay? So X is 45, I'm going to use equation 2. Equation 2 is X, which is 45, minus Z equals 52. So here we go. We're going to solve that. Subtract our 45. negative z equals 7. And then let's divide them both by -1 to make the z positive. So I get z is a -7. So y'all, like I said, to get the y, I can now use this equation if I want to, or the first one. So let me back substitute one more time. So y'all, I'll probably use this one because that's a little equation. So I'm going to use y plus z, which is -7, has to equal 13. So y'all would add your 7 and get y is 20. Now in MathLab, they say the three numbers in order from smallest to largest are blank, blank, and blank. So once you get them, you just got to figure out, okay, what's the smallest number? So I had 45, 20, and -7. So that would be your -7. What would be next? My 20, and then the largest number would be my 45. All right, and then like I said, you could use that matrix on that, put those numbers in, reduce it, and be done. All right, y'all, so questions on those problems?
No.
All righty, so here we go. This is a small section, 3.7. I think it has a total of 5 questions. Yeah, that's a requirement. Someone's asking if you're always allowed to use a calculator in this class. Technically, that's a requirement. They wanted y'all to get books and in that calculator, okay? Because you can work most of these problems just on that calculator. So 3.7 deals with systems of inequalities. And y'all, when I talk about inequalities, I'm talking about greater than equals, less than and equals. So those are my inequalities. So we got special rules when we graph inequalities because inequalities can have more than one answer for them, okay? So let me give you some steps to graphing. And then I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as having more than one answer on these, okay? So the first thing we got to figure out on an inequality is whether we use a solid line to graph it or if we're going to use a dotted line to graph it. So for a solid line, if it is greater than or equals or less than or equals, you're going to use a solid line when graphing. And y'all, the way I remembered that is because these inequalities got lines under them. So that always told me to use a solid line when graphing, okay? Now, if it's a greater than or a less than, so they don't have equals on them, then you will use a dotted line when graphing. So what a dotted line means is any of the points that are actually on that dotted line, they do not make the inequality true when you check it, okay? Solid line, those numbers on that solid line will make it true. All right, so once we draw our lines on this, we then need to figure out if we're going to shade the top of our graph or if we're going to shade the bottom of the graph. Because the area we shade means that every point that's in that shaded area makes our inequality true. So if this thing is greater than and equals or greater than, you're going to shade above the line. So greater than shades above, which means if it's less than or equal or less than, you're going to shade below the line. Now, these are linear inequalities, which means we're just going to be graphing straight lines, basically. So remember, to graph a straight line, you're going to have to find at least 2 points when you graph these, okay? So Math Lab, you'll do the same tool to graph. You'll pick your line you're going to use, and then use that little tool with the 2 dots on the line to graph it. So here's an example. We're going to graph the inequality. They're giving us y equals x minus 4. So let's come over here and set us up a graph. So that'll be my x and my y. So I think I can be good going out about 5 on this one. But I'll leave room to go further if we need. All right, so we're going to graph it on here. We need to come up with 2 points to graph. So I'm going to make me a little table to come up with 2 points. So y'all, give me 2 x values, and hopefully they're not too large, okay?
2.
So I got a 2. I'll use a 2. All right, so I need one more.
4.
All right, I'll use 4. So let's see what y values we get when we plug these 2 numbers in for x. So y'all's first point, you gave me 2. So 2 minus 4, that would give me a -2 for that y value. So I like that, and that'll fit. And then let's see, here you gave me an x is 4. So I'll put that 4 in. 4 minus 4 is 0 for that point. All right, y'all, so let's plot these points. So 2 would be 2 right. -2 would be 2 down. So my first point right there is 2, -2. My second point is 4, 0. So I would go right 4 and then stay on the line since the y value was 0. So y'all got me 2 points there. So my first question is, would y'all use a, whoops, oh, my bad. Y'all hang on right there. That's a greater than, okay? Make that a greater than. So here's my question. Since that's a greater than, do I want a solid or dotted line?
Dotted.
Dotted line. Oh, that's cool. Y'all made one on the chat. So that dotted line runs through there. Then the second question, where do I want to shade it, above or below?
Above.
So above, so technically all this area above this line is now shaded. Okay. Which means, this means that any answer that is shaded makes this true. So what's this point right in the middle? 0, 0. Let's see if it's true. If I put a 0 in, is 0 greater than 0 minus 4? True or false? Well, y'all, 0 is definitely greater than -4. So that means that's true. So we're happy we shaded the right part. So I'm just checking the point to see if that was true, okay? And watch this. Y'all got a powerful calculator here, right? So y'all see this problem, y greater than x minus 4? We're about to shade this on our calculator. So let me go to my calculator screen. All right, I'm gonna clear this so y'all can see what buttons I'm punching this time. I'll clear that. All right, so let me clear this one more time. All right, so what we want to do, since it's already solved for the y, all I need to do is go to my y equals to graph this. So top left corner, hit y equals. Now mine don't have nothing in it, but if you have something in there, hit clear to clear it. So first we're going to put in that equation they gave us, which was x minus 4. So to get my x, I hit this button right next to the alpha button that has an X key on it. So depending on what graph mode you're in, that's going to give you different letters. So we just need an X. So I hit that, get my X. And then I had what, -4. So go over here and get your subtraction. And then your 4. At the moment, all it would graph is a line. I need to tell it if I want to shade or not. Now, y'all, the only thing the calculator won't show you is if the line is dotted or solid, but it will show me the shading, okay? So we had a greater than. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this arrow left button, and I'm going to arrow left of that Y1. So watch my cursor. I'm going left, 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 all the way to the very left of the screen where it's blinking. So let me show you what's happening here. When you hit enter, it changes. See the different lines now? To shade above, the triangle that you see now is what I would push to shade above. Now I'm going to keep going through the buttons just to show you what's here. To shade below, when I hit enter, I would use this triangle that looks like it's on the ground. So let me go through this and get back to the one I said was above. So it goes through a few things, a dotted line, there's a dotted line, there's that thick line. Here's my triangle. This triangle shades above because it's bigger on top. So once I tell it that I want to shade above and I hit graph, watch the magic. It shaded it just like we needed. And if you need some points to graph, you go to second, graph, and it gives you points you can use. There's that 0, -4 we had. Here's that 2, -2. Well, we had 4, 0, I think. So here's 4, 0 down the line. So if you graph it, get these points out of here, plot it in MATLAB, and then you can even check what your graph looks like by going back to your graph on here. Okay.
But I'm confused. So how do we know if it's shaded above or below, or we just keep it like that?
So here's the thing. If it's greater than, which means it's larger on the left side of that inequality, if it's greater than, you're going to shade above. If it's a less than, which opens toward the right, if it's less than, then you're going to shade below the line.
Okay.
Now, let me go back to my page. So y'all, the trickiest thing, because they know if they have them all solved for Y, all you are going to do is go punch them in the calculator. So they did give you one tricky one here, and they want us to graph this one, which is a 3x. minus 5y less than or equal to a negative 20. Funny, yeah. All righty, so here we go. The thing you got to do to this is solve for the y. I never try to plot points when they're in this form. I always want mine in the form of a y is less than or greater than whatever I get, because then it's easier to pick those numbers. So y'all, to solve this for the y, I want that 3x on the other side, so can't I just move it over there and change its sign?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see.
No, you can just go ahead. You go ahead and continue.
Yeah, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides, right? So that'll get that 5y stuff by itself. So since the 3x is positive, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. That'll give me a negative 5y is less than or equal. Now, the negative 20 and the negative 3x, they're not like terms. So it don't matter what order you put them in. I usually do the x's first, but you can do negative 20 minus 3x. So here was my question. Can I not just take that 3x and move it to the other side by changing its sign? Because look here, that x is now negative, right? So that's what I'm wanting y'all to see. If I don't feel like sitting here and adding and subtracting all the time, slide it to the other side, change its sign, and be done. All right. Almost got it solved for the y, but I still got that negative 5 sitting there. So I'm going to divide everybody in this equation by negative 5. So y'all, here's a question. Do y'all remember what I need to do when I divide an inequality by a negative number?
Again.
Oh, I didn't hear that. So what
Say it
do I
again.
do when I divide an inequality by a negative number?
You changed the sign? You changed
I changed that
the
sign. It was less than and equal. Now it's going to be greater than or equal. So y'all remember that when you divide an inequality, you always got to flip that little inequality around, okay? So it'll now be greater than or equal, which means when I pick my graphing, I'm going to be shading above the line, okay? So we end up with a y, because those cancel, making a 1. Negative and negative make that a positive 3/5 x. Negative and negative make that a positive 4. So at that point, let's see, we would draw our graph. So let me go out about 5 again. Hopefully that's enough. All right, so I'm going to come up with an x and a y. Pick me 2 numbers and then we'll plot them and see what we get. I'm going to use 0 this time. So Zach asked me only when dividing. No, now if your variable is on top and you have a number on bottom like division and it's negative and you have to multiply everybody to make your variable positive. If you multiply by a negative, you also have to reverse that inequality. But you'll really do that. You really don't multiply a lot in inequalities when you're solving equations, but yes, if you multiply or divide by negative, you will reverse it, okay? All right, y'all, so since I got a fraction, one of my numbers is 0. Yeah, that's what, yeah, so y'all are saying when it changes it changes that direction. All right, y'all give me a second. Y'all give me a second number. See if y'all remember what I did back in week 1. Oh, y'all saying 4. I don't want no 4. Oh, I probably don't want that -1.
What? Positive one?
No, no ones. Y'all don't remember what I did when I had fractions? 5, there you
What
go.
about
because
5 and 7?
I'm on a 5 because the bottom of that fraction is the 5, right?
Mhm.
And anytime the bottom of a fraction is 5 and you multiply that fraction by 5, those 5s cancel. So watch me. I'm going to work both of these to get these two answers. So first, I'm going to put a 0 in for that x. Well, anything times 0 is 0. So this gives me 0 plus 4, which equals 4. So when x is 0, y is 4. Now watch what I do on this one.
That's what I said.
Huh?
I said 4, but it's okay.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were talking about the x. No, but the
I thought
answer-
you were going X, Y, then X, Y.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so there you go. So when I had a 0, it was definitely 4. So now
And when I
picked up-
said 7, it could go with the Y's.
oh, you picked this one already. Look at you go then, okay? Because the 5's cancel. 3 plus 4 is 7. All right, so you did good then. I thought you were telling me the x's to put in, and I'm scared of those numbers because those would have got me ugly decimals and fractions and all that wild stuff. All right, y'all, here we go. 0, 4, 0 on the x's, up to 4 on the y-axis. Oh, I need a few more points here because that one's a little taller. So 5, 7, go over to 5 and up here to 7. All righty. So my first question would be, what kind of line am I using? Solid or dotted?
Yeah, what he said, what they said.
I see solid lines on the chat. There you go. So solid lines coming up through there. Now, shade above or below?
Above.
Above. There you go. Y'all did good because you got to use that equation right here that we were graphing. So shade above and all that would be shaded. So I'm going to do this one on the calculator again so y'all see me using it more. So let me go to my calculator. I'm going to clear all this out. So let me clear this. So the y equals. All right, so I'm going to clear the side on the left here. All right, so that equation was y greater than or equal to 3/5 x. So that'll be 3 divided by 5. Get our x. Then what was it? Plus 4. So then we got plus 4. Now, got my equation in. I'm going to arrow all the way left until I get to the left side of the y1. All right, so it's blinking now. So now hit enter. And y'all said we're shading above, so hit enter till we got the triangle that was above. So it's the first one usually for the greater than right there. At that point, I would hit graph to verify we did this right. And y'all, that looks exactly like what we did. So we would be happy now. All right, so going back to the page. So you got to admit, this is a little better than those systems of equations, right? All righty, so now I'm going to do this one. X greater than -4. So let me get my graph over here ready. So 5 every way, or work on this one. Then I'm gonna go straight to my table. Y'all, when you got an equation that only has an x variable and it does not have a y variable, that means when this graphs we will get a vertical line. If only X's, okay? So when you're done, just better go vertical. Now you cannot do this one on the calculator because it does not have the Y variable. And the reason that is, if y'all remember, vertical lines are not functions, right? Vertical lines fail the function test. So that's why the calculator don't bother to even graph these kind of lines. So give me a couple X values I can use.
Yeah, y'all, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to pick one for you. I'm going to pick -4. Oh, Zach, you're pretty close, but change that sign and give me that. All right, so y'all give me your second number. How about this?
What if we do 3 this time? Oh, never mind.
Y'all see what I did? Anytime you got a single variable equal to a number like this -4, that means every X value over here better be -4. So every X value has to be -4. Now, you can pick any 2 Y values. Pick any 2 Y values. So I'm just going to pick 0 and 1. They're pretty easy. So watch what's going to happen. -4, 0, come left over here to -4. Since the Y value is 0, put your first dot. Then you had -4, 1. So come left to -4, up 1. You have your second point, which makes that a vertical line. But my question is this: do I want this line solid or dotted? I do want dotted. So I'm going to go up and make that dotted. Good job, Jordan. Now, you really can't shade this above or below, but which direction is greater than on the X's? Oh, I think you're going to fix that. There you go, shade to the right. So greater than on the X's is to the right, so you would shade to the right. Every point in here, X value will be greater than that -4, okay?
If it's greater than, it's to the right, and if it's less than, it's to the left for a vertical line.
Yeah, if that would have been less than, I would have shaded that line to the left,
Okay.
okay? Y greater than or equal to a +3. Now, since this is a Y, this one can be done on the calculator. We just couldn't do that last one on there, okay? But it was X's. But they're easy by hand. So here we go. 5 that way. 5 that way. -5. And -5. So there's my X and my Y. So I'm gonna make me a table for that one. Now, I don't really care what X values we pick, but we do know one thing. Every one of these Y values will be what?
3,
3. There you go.
and then just choose any X value.
Now, when you got Y equals a number, this is going to be a horizontal line.
Hold on, wait, why is it gonna be a horizontal line again? Because it's on the Y-axis.
Because it's telling me that my Y's have to be equal or greater than 3. So that's almost like your salary pay member. It's a horizontal line. It's always 3, okay? Now, that means every y value has to be 3. This one you can pick any 2 x values. So my easiest numbers are 0 and 1 again. So watch what happens. At 0, you go up 3. At 1, I would go up 3. You know, I got my 2 points at 3 on the y. So my next question would be solid or dotted line.
Got it? Wait, I think I had it wrong. Wait.
Oh, I couldn't hear y'all, but so what I
It
was
should
asking,
be solid.
it's going to be solid. There you go. So it'll be solid coming across that 3 like that. Now, it's greater than, sort of y is greater than above or below, and we already said, since it's greater than, we would definitely shade above. So all this would get shaded. So y'all watch this calculator. Let me go get that up. So let me clear that. I'm gonna go y equals, we'll clear this equation out when I get to y equals. Now this is saying y greater than or equal to 3. Well, the only thing I'm putting in here is a 3. Then we're going to go left. Remember, all the way left. Since that one was greater than, I need to hit enter until I get my big triangle. So there's my triangle. Now, when I hit graph, there you go, shaded right above. Everything above that 3 on that y-axis got shaded. So y'all, here's the thing on the last one. We got one more problem to go through. On this problem, it's going to be a system of equations. So when, whoops, let me bring this up. And let me sign one in real quick. Or she must have got knocked off. All right. So when graphing a system of 2 inequalities, the solution is the double shaded region. And we can still do this on the calculator. They're going to give me 2 equations and we're going to plot them both. And then we're going to look for the double shaded region for our final answer. So graph the system. So y is greater than or equal to x plus 1. And then they have y is less than or equal to 1 minus x. All right, so really all you got to do is graph these 2 lines, shade above on one, shade below on the other, and look for where they double intersect. So let me do this one first. I'm going to do y greater than or equal to x plus 1. I'll find me 2 points to use for it. And then on the other one, y less than or equal to 1 minus x, I'll find me 2 points for that one. And y'all, the easiest points, 0 and 1, 0 and 1 for my x's. So here we go. If x is 0, 0 plus 1 means that the y is 1. If x is 1, 1 plus 2, 1 means my y is 2. So I would plot, oops, let's make some marks here, I guess. So I'm going to go out 5 again. All right, so this one I had 0, 1, and then I had 1, right 1, and up 2. So y'all, for the first line, solid or dotted?
Solid.
Solid, there you go. Which means both of these are going to be solid, right? Because they both got that equals on them. All right, so let's solve the next one. If I put a 0 in, 1 minus 0 is 1. If I put a 1 in for the x, 1 minus 1 is 0. So this one has 0, 1, which is that same point there. And then 1, 0 would be right 1 and stay. So that's going to be a solid line also. So on the first line, did I want to shade that first line above or below? My first line had greater than, so I will shade that one above the line. The second equation had a less than. So on my second line, right here was less than. So I'm going to shade it the different direction, but I shade below. Now, you can tell that my final answer is going to be the one that has that section highlighted, because my only double shaded section was right in here. Okay. So a system of inequalities, that answer will always be the double shaded area. So y'all, let me go back to my calculator. And I'm going to show y'all something cool. I'm going to use my TI-84 CE frame over here. So let me clear that off. All right, so we're going to go to y equals. And I'm going to put in my first equation, which was x plus 1. So I'm going to do x plus 1. Now, I want this one to be greater than. So I'm going to arrow left until that's blinking, hit enter. Now notice on these ones, I can pick the color of my line, so I'm going to let it stay blue. So I'm going to come down here, hit enter. And on my line, remember my line has to be the triangle, so I'm going to arrow until I get my triangle, and then hit OK. Oh, I got to arrow down. Okay, my bad. OK and enter. So that's my first line. My second one down here, let me put it in, was 1 minus x. So I'm going to do 1 minus x. Now remember on this one, I'm going to go left all the way. Hit enter. So on the new calculators, this is how you set up your lines, okay? So let's see, I can pick red. Let me hit enter and go through these colors. I'm going to do red. On my line, I'm going to arrow right, and this one's below. So I'm going to go to the triangle that's below. So which is that one? Go to my OK and hit enter. So that's how you do this on the new calculator. Now we've got both our lines in there. Now y'all watch this. This is pretty cool when you got colored graphs, because it'll color one in blue, it'll color one in red. And my answer is this left side that's double shaded with the red and the blue. Okay. And that sort of matches what we got here. Now, MathLab will have 4 pictures. It'll have a picture with the double shaded here. It'll have a picture with the double shaded there, over here, and then on the bottom. And I'll actually show you. So they'll just have the 4 pictures, and you'll choose the one that has your double shaded area in it, okay? So y'all, that is 3.7, the last material that's going to be on my first test.
Can we use our notes on tests?
Well, I'm not going to be at home with you, so I don't know what you're going to be doing.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Dr. Rapton, I got a question.
And the main thing, do the review study guide quiz, because that's the biggest thing that's going to get you ready for my test. It's an exact copy of the test, and you can do it as many times as you want. But when y'all hit that test, you only get one shot, okay? So I would probably do the study guide quite a bit until I got what grade I wanted, and then knock out that test, okay?
Does it tell you like the homework does when you click it? Does it tell you if you got it right or wrong?
On my review, when you review them, it should go through and let you know.
Okay, but the
But I'll
test doesn't?
I'll make sure and check that though, because I can check a box. So let me make sure that you can do review on test review, okay? I believe we got them automatically set up to so that when you go back in and review it, it'll show you what you missed and stuff like that, okay?
Gotcha.
I have a question.
I hear you.
Okay, after college algebra, what other algebra do you teach? Or what other math do you teach?
Well, any of them, it just depends on, we pick them sort of by seniority. But certain classes got what we call a lead instructor that always sort of takes that class as one of theirs. But I can teach trigonometry, calculus 1, calculus 2, statistics. It just depends on what's available when we start going through picking them. Which one are you looking at?
Whatever one I would get next year, well, this year, because I want to have you for it. I want to.
Oh. Yeah, I do a lot of college algebra. I'm not sure. We usually offer more in the fall, so we'll just have to see what they got going. So what math would y'all take after this? Would probably be what, statistics?
And you say you do statistics, right?
Sometimes.
Ooh, okay.
It just depends. Really what it depends on is how many students they think they got going into a class. That sort of lets them know how many to sort of open up and stuff. And then this goes how people pick them. I got like let's see, 1, 2, 3 people ahead of me on seniority. But yeah, stats ain't bad. It's just a lot of number crunching. And I mean a lot of number crunching. So you want that calculator for that class too, okay? All right, y'all, so here's our plan. Y'all catch up homework Sunday night. Hopefully you can get all the way through your 3-7 by Sunday night, especially Tuesday night. We're gonna come in Tuesday. I'm gonna do test 1 review. I will open up test 1 then, and it'll be due Sunday night. Yeah, please don't do that test until y'all do that review so that y'all can get good for that, okay? Because I can't. Yeah, I hear you.
How many questions on the test?
What now?
How many questions is on the test?
25, just like that review. Now, here's another thing. If you do your review and write your problems down while you're doing it, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get the same question repeated. Because that math generator only generates 4 or 5 different versions of a question. So a lot of times people actually get test questions that they seen on their reviews. And I mean exactly the same. So yeah.
Appreciate you for that.
And that review is a quiz for y'all, okay? All right, Ricky, I hear you.
No, I said thank you for letting us know that.
All right. Yeah, and I'll remind y'all again Tuesday night for sure, okay?
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
All right, y'all have a good one, and I will see y'all Tuesday night. Have a good weekend.